Thank you.
I've been watching your career the last, couple of years, and you've had amazing success, and you've been part of so many amazing projects. Now, what drew you to this one in particular?
Alex Kurtzman came to us and mentioned the idea of an on-ramp for Star Trek. And it really kind of percolated our ideas of and our own apprehensions of a Star Trek show for a younger audience. And we kind of came up with this idea of this shouldn't just be a show for a younger audience, but people who are apprehensive to get into the deep end of Star Trek. And because I think the Star Trek canon is a bit intimidating because it's so thick. And I think there's people who want to like Star Trek, but are afraid to really go into it. And so we're like, this is a show really for a new audience, and also for audiences who are just who want to dabble in Star Trek and see if they like it. And so far we've been amazed by the support from the fans, and it's been a dream project for us.
And can I add, after Troll Hunters, that was such a delight to work on, right? And we got Emmys for it, and it's gorgeous. And I'm like, Dan, let's never touch another animated TV show because we can't do any better. Can't do it. And then this came along, and we're like, we could do something special here. So I'm so happy we did.
It's definitely sensational, and I really have been able to get, even as an adult, I did grow up watching Star Trek, the original, and watching all the layers and just different things that I don't think that I was super familiar about, but now it's like, okay, this totally makes sense. It simplifies it, right?
Good.
It simplifies the saga. So I have to say that Dahl is my favorite character. He's relatable. And like many teens, he's struggling with his identity and who he is. And I love that. But at the same time, he's resilient, and he can, face any obstacle. And so I want to know for both of you, who is your personal favorite character in the story and why?
That's a tough.
That's a very unfair question to ask, my dear. What child is your favorite? But wait, can I just say, while Dan's thinking about his favorite, with Dal though, you're scratching why I love and why I think people do relate to Dal. And it's like Dal messes. He's not the smartest character. He's not the smartest kid. He messes up all the time.
Right.
What I love about him, and what we decided early on, is his special power is that it's hope. He doesn't give up. No matter how bad, he doesn't stop, right? When you first meet him, he always is trying to break out of Tars Lamora. Nothing is going to get him down. And I just love that. And I feel like that's just something that we all need to learn and embody in life. As
he has that fake it till you make it attitude, which I think we had to have ourselves in the, being told that you're going to make a Star Trek show. It's like, it feels daunting. It feels like an impossible task. And how are we going to succeed at this? How are we not going to look like massive failures? And so I think you have to kind of give yourself the confidence, and then you start again, it's very much like the Dal storyline. You have to lean on a crew. You cannot do it on your own. And so I think we feel very akin to the Dal personality.
But
teamwork.
yes.
Teamwork. So now I want to talk a little bit about Murph. He is so cute, and we like him. And I read somewhere that he was actually a joke that was put in. And then, so can you tell me a little bit about Murph and how he became an actual character and how he's evolved?
Well, we started off where it's so dramatic, right? We really went big, and we knew Nickelodeon bought our show, and we're like, that this isn't just going to be for a Nickelodeon audience. It's not just for kids. Very different than most of the stuff that comes out of Nickelodeon. But
we came up with the idea of what if there's just a space blob dog, this ugly dog.
But it's because what is there for the Nickelodeon audience? Let's make sure we do have something for the youngest kids,
right.
And
we kind of said it as a gag, but then we're like, but that would be kind of cool. That feels right. It just felt like a lot of the time when you come up with ideas, throwing spaghetti on the wall. And when something sticks, you know, Murph stuck. And I think what's interesting is like, I don't think that we like the reason Murph, I think, is beloved is the look of Murph. And I think, and Murph went through a lot of early iterations. Kevin and I were always very adamant. We're like, Murph should be ugly, like bulldog. Because Kevin and I had bulldogs and we're like an ugly mutt. And my gosh, there were some ugly iterations. And then I think Heather Caden said, what if we make Murph cute? And we're like, oh. Oh, and then we did it, and then Ben worked on this great design of Murph, and we're like, oh my God, this is.
And then we had no idea that fans would love Murph so much. We just thought, I don't know, you know, we didn't think Murph would take off, but he did.
Yeah.
And because it's animation, we're like, this is a character we could do that the live action shows can't do, and we can do it for, you know, cheap in essence, right? So it worked out great.
Yeah, I love that. You know, everyone's a little rough around the edges. I mean, they're aliens, so some of them are not maybe the most appealing, but he adds like a softness to the story. And I like that, you know, especially if you're trying to attract younger audiences. You can, like, you know, the little kids I would imagine get excited when they see him on the screen.
Can I add one of my favorite things? You look at your background, and we spend a lot of time. You look at a lineup of your characters,
right?
Making sure the physical design are very different from one another. And
right.
One of my favorite things is when it's our show's tested with kids or whatever, it's all across the board of like, Dow's their favorite,
right?
Zero is their favorite, Rock is their favorite, Gwen is their favorite, Jank, like everyone relates to someone different. And so I'm so proud that the whole crew is really, you know, being appreciated.
And they're diverse too, so that makes it even, you know, better. But my last question is, what is the takeaway for your audience?
I think one of the strengths of Star Trek is you look at Star Wars, and Star Wars is the story of one. Mm-hmm. Star Trek is the story of many. Right. And what Gene Roddenberry's always done is shown strength through diversity, mm-hmm. having different viewpoints on the bridge to be able to come to problems and to discuss them, and it's not always about one person's point of view, it's about what's great for the group. And so I think that's what I most want kids to understand, is that you may think you know it all, but someone else next to you who comes from a very different background may have something that could help the situation.
And my hope is, like, our crew is filled with, you know, astrophysicists and advisors and artists who are all inspired by earlier, you know, incarnations of Star Trek. And I really hope that the future scientists and the future mathematicians and the future astronauts, you know, will be inspired by this show.
That's wonderful. Thank you guys, and congratulations on your success.
Oh, thank you.